I'm one of his bestest friends.
Well, this is kind of a family thing.
Well, then why are we?
Good. I'll be waiting here. You're not security. I'm taking after somebody else.
Tired.
How's it feel to have 1,000?
Congratulations.
Stop. You got the all box. Yeah. Oh, what's that? Is that? You had a feeling. We're going to take it to the next game of it. That was nice.
You should have put 2 more in.
Well, lasting for 1,000.
Thanks.
championship, playing for a district title, winning some tournament championships. You bet Chillicothe had a great year. I want to start with the JV boys and Coach John Wheeler, and then we'll move to Coach Schnockenberg, and then over to the girls. So to tell a little bit about a good year that the JV also had a very good part in, as well as our varsity team, Coach John Wheeler. Coach?
That Glenn is a tough act to follow. Fellas, I'm embarrassed. We didn't get you any roses. Congratulations to all you winter sports athletes, cheerleaders, and pom-pom girls. I appreciate the opportunity to hobnob with these gentlemen yearly. Gentlemen like Dave Garrison, that's really a privilege. And of course, I also enjoy the camaraderie of my fellow coaches. Apparently, our junior varsity basketball players are gamers and maybe even practice people. They're not too good at doing banquets, apparently, since we have so few who have shown up tonight. Perhaps they're waiting around the gym. Maybe they've heard the Putnam County game is going to be rescheduled after all. We did play 15 games this year. We were fortunate enough to win 13 of them. Some of them gave me cardiac arrest, or nearly so. These guys hustled like crazy. They got with it. They didn't get cheated, and I think that's what it's all about. You'll pardon the cliche. The cliche meter went over like that. I'd like to introduce the pugnacious cast of characters that played on our JV basketball team this year, those who are here, including some that start the year with us but matriculated to bigger and better things as the year developed. Our two starting guards early, Bert, I feel free for the three, Dickinson, and Justin, beep beep, Waller. You know, they were quite a dynamic duo out there, and appreciate having gotten to work with them a time. And we have a couple more that I see that I'll mention. Chris Kamikaze Corbin, his reckless style took him to the floor a lot of times in practice. He had a lot of aches and pains, but he had a heck of a year as the year unfolded. And there's Robbie Floorburn Meister Gastineau. And I also see Nick Brinkley probably doesn't claim as he played a couple of quarters for us. And so I do want to at least recognize Nick, brief visit, mothers-in-law take note, Brinkley. Anyway, I appreciate very much the efforts of these people. Those of you who saw them play recognize the fact that the hustle they got with it, and they were kind of fun to watch. They were fun for me. I enjoyed coaching them. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Coach Wheeler. And now to the boys varsity team and Coach Jeff Schnockenberg to talk about their season. Coach?
I'll just try it this way. First of all, I haven't been doing the Reader's Digest vocabulary thing, so I'm not going to try and keep up with Coach Wheeler, and I don't have cute little nicknames for my players, which Coach Wheeler and Colonel Mike have done good enough at that this year. I talked to some conference coaches, and they were listening to a ball game, I believe Savannah game, and they could not figure out who Savannah was playing because they were listening to guys called Meadowlark bringing the ball down the floor, and the Bull, and they seldom heard names, only these little nicknames, and finally they figured out who it was. But I'm not going to try that. I do want to say that we have had a fantastic season. 19 wins, 9 losses. In anybody's book is a great win-loss record, and just fantastic effort. Glenna started making this squeak. I don't know what's wrong with it, but it was just a fabulous year. The guys that were involved really deserve all the credit. They worked hard, they hustled, they just have been great kids to work with. I really appreciated them, and they're at the top of my thank you list for making this such a good season, because without them, there would be no sense in having any of it. Without players and support cast that are willing to go out and do everything that's expected of them and asked of them. I also would like to thank my assistant coach, John Wheeler, for the valuable help that he's given us. Freshman coach Larry Vance, whose teams also sported winning record this year. Jim Radel, down at the 8th grade level, had winning seasons this year and for the last couple of years. It's the first time, I believe the first time since I've been at Chillicothe, that all the boys basketball teams within the school system had winning records, and that speaks a lot of where we're headed in the future. I also want to thank Coach Fairchild. Rich has really been valuable to me. He, with his years and years of experience, he has been able to give me a little bit of help and insight into some things, and when I take things too seriously, his relaxed outlook on life and the game kind of brings me back in line. But I do want to thank him. I also want to thank the parents for all the support that they've given the boys and the team and the program. The basketball moms put together a little organization this year, and they really treated us special, and it's not something you would expect to have done for you, but it's really good to see that people are getting behind the basketball program in Chillicothe. And the things they've done might not seem like much to some people, but anytime you offer food to a bunch of boys, they're going to appreciate it. And they had sandwiches ready for us on long bus trips, and they decorated cars and did lots of neat things. If you look around the field house, you'll see some flags and banners that they put up, permanent ones. And I just really want to thank them for everything they've done. The cheerleaders, and although I don't get to see the Pom girls perform very much, I've been told by Marcella, my wife, that they were much better than some of them that performed at the Final Four this year. And that says a lot for where they're going. And the cheerleaders have done a very good job, despite their efforts to do hidden videos and things like that on the bus of me sleeping. But, I really appreciate the effort that's been given on their part also. I want to thank the Booster Club for putting this all together, for the pizza feed earlier in the year, and for the different things that they've done for the program throughout the year. I'd like to thank Chuck Haney for announcing our games and for taking an active part in his KMZU 5th quarter show, the coaches show. He and Bob Carter and Ed Crawford do a very good job of that. And if you travel around the state very much, you don't hear many of these types of shows, and it really is fun to listen to. Not really a whole lot of fun to talk on it, but it is fun to listen to when other people have to do the talking. Colonel Mike and KCHI, they do a fantastic job. I listen to people talk when I'm at the store, at church, and they talk about the game. And I've never ever seen them at games. They're not to where they're able to go, but boy, they sure listen to Colonel Mike and KCHI when they do the games. He has quite a following, and I really appreciate the job he's done. I also want to thank the Constitution Tribune for the good write-ups and the publicity that they've given the team. It's Bob Carter, is quite an individual by his own rights, but he does a good job with his sports casting, sports editing, and article writing. you know, I said at the beginning, this has been a really good year for basketball in Chillicothe. I thought I'd just kind of run through some highlights of the season and then go on to introducing the players. As I said, we had 19 wins, 9 losses. You don't want to deal on the negative, but a third of those losses were to a team that finished second in the state of Missouri, and that was Maryville. But if you divide that up, we were 6 wins and 2 losses at home, 5 wins and 3 losses on the road, and 8 and 4 at tournaments. Some of the team accomplishments: we got second place at the Kearney tournament. Very, very high scoring game, pretty fun game to play in, pretty shirt soaking game to have to coach, but we finished second to a very good state ranked team in Kansas City Metro there. We also finished second in district. That's the second time in the 4 years that I've been here that we've been to the championship game. And you know, I kind of think that we can do better than that in the future, but hey, it's great to be there. Some of the other accomplishments we've had during the year: David Garrison, in the beginning part of the season, started hitting a streak of free throws. He hit 27 free throws in a row at one point and had a perfect tournament at the William Jewell tournament, 17 for 17 at the free throw line. Eric Hemmer broke the single game 3-point record at one game, only to see that go down the tubes to Justin Walter just a few games later. Eric Hemmer also had what was very close to a record single game performance. He scored 43 points against Kansas City Southwest. The most rebounds for the year came in Justin Bland's hands. He had 15 rebounds against against St. Joe Lafayette. David Garrison, Bert Dickinson, and Justin Walter all had 6 assists in different games, but the most assists, there was a tie, 3-way tie for that. Brett Hecker had 6 steals against Kansas City Northeast. David Garrison and Eric Hemmer were named to the all-tournament team at the Kearney tournament. David Garrison and Eric Hemmer were named to the KMZU Dream Team just the other day. And last night, the conference coaches met and voted for all-conference selections. Eric Hemmer ended up on first team all-conference, David Garrison second team, and Justin Bland, all-conference honorable mention. Very good effort. And you know, it's been just a fantastic season. I know there's been ups and downs, but there's always ups and downs in life, in games, no matter what you do. There's going to be ups and downs. But we've got a good future ahead of us. We are losing one senior. He's going to be greatly missed. But, you know, as far as the future for basketball at Chillicothe, it's looking very good. What I'd like to do right now is to bring up the boys that suited out varsity this year. If you would come up and just kind of line up across here, I'll introduce you one at a time. Justin Walter, Bert Dickinson, and Justin Bland. In the 10th grade, we had Brett Hecker, Nick Brinkley, Chris Corbin suited out with us. 11th graders, Ryan Byer, Scotty Sam, Michael Snowden, and Eric Hemmer, which brings us to our senior, David Garrison. These were the Hornets this year. We have a certificate for each of these guys. Coach Wheeler will be getting them out. I also want to bring up some of our valuable support crew. And they did a lot of work and experienced some new things this year. we started keeping our stats on computer, and some of these guys found out that they were, in fact, not very computer friendly. But you know, there's been a lot expected of them, and they've worked hard and done a good job. Josh Barnes, I'd like for you to come on up. Grant Van Landingham. And Billy Bob Smith. Kathleen Stevenson and Brian Foley also helped out. I don't know if they're here tonight or not. But these people all deserve a big round of applause. They've really helped out a lot. I appreciate everything they've done. Thank you. Each year, we give awards for rebounds, free throws, and hustle, and a coach's award. The statistics, if you want to talk about statistics, the statistics for Chillicothe boys basketball at times can be quite impressive. If you compared some of the things we did, which comparing isn't always good, but if you take a look at our season stats, compare them to some of the season stats for the teams that were at the Final Four, you see a lot of similarities in the things we're doing. When I first came here, Coach Wheeler might remember the exact number, but I think my first year here, from the three-point line, for instance, we shot about 19 in the first 3 games and made about 1 of those. So we didn't shoot many more the rest of the year. I think we finished the year with about 30 three-point shots for the entire team for the year. We had 2 or 3 people that passed that mark by themselves this year. But you know, statistics are important. It gives you an estimate of where you might improve, where you're doing well, and some things that you can improve upon. Our leading rebounder this year raked in 268 rebounds, which doesn't seem like a great deal when you look at the records. I think there's over 400 for a single season was the Chillicothe record, but I'll bet you that wasn't done by a freshman by the name of Justin Bland. Not an easy award to come up with this year. We had probably 4 people that had in excess of 70% at the line this year. David Garrison had a great year, fell short at the end of the season, ended up in the upper 60s. Justin Walter had 71% from the free throw line, and Justin Bland was 71-point-something% from the free throw line. But this year's free throw award winner had 107 free throws out of 149 attempts, and that goes to Eric Hemmer for 72%. Lawhoff's Jewelry was the one that sponsored that award. The Hustle Award is given every year to players who, through either partly statistics and partly just pure guts and hustle, go out and really show that they are the life of the team. In some games they are the life of the team, but they're always going to be able to be counted on. And this year's Hustle Award winner didn't lead in very many categories, but he's one of the best leaders that I've ever come into contact with. He had 29 steals, 75 assists, 150 rebounds, and is one of the best people I've ever been able to work with in my life, and that goes to David Garrison. I don't know how often we have given coaches awards. My memory doesn't go back more than a week in some cases, but I really felt compelled to give a coaches award this year. And I'm just going to read what I decided to put on the plaque because it sums up my feelings for this young man. CHS Coaches Award for David Garrison, 40 years of commitment, sacrifice, team spirit, and leadership to make Chillicothe basketball successful, 91-92 through 94-95. He's one of the best people in the world that I've ever worked with, and I'm really going to miss him.
Thank you, Coach. Congratulations again on a outstanding season. Congratulations to you coaches, Coach Wheeler and Coach Dockenberg. Congratulations to the award winners. As we turn to girls basketball, I was also thinking the emphasis always seems to be that we talk about the athletes or the athletic programs, but I noticed when the honor roll broke, Coach Lawson, after the first of the year, that when we looked up and down the list of the honor roll winners in girls and boys basketball, that there were plenty of people that were playing and participating in the game that were among those honor roll people. So, you know, in Chillicothe, I guess we can say the student athlete and say it with pride. We're going to go to girls basketball now and to the junior varsity program. Rich and I was sitting here visiting when Coach was talking about the success of the boys and girls teams, and I said, it's been a while, and you'd have to go back a long, long time, and maybe never, I'm not sure, that the 8th, 9th, junior varsity and varsity all had the type of seasons that they had this past year. This one by Coach Tim Rikina, the junior varsity 14-2. Tell us about it, Coach.
I do want to start off by thanking a few people, the parents and the fans. Once again, the parents did an excellent job letting us know when they're taking their daughters home, and we do appreciate that. I want to thank Coach Fairchild once again. He's a good guy to work with. Anything I've ever asked for, I seem to get. I need to ask for more. I want to thank Coach Baker. We scrimmaged a lot with her freshman team, and Amy ended up with a season of 14-1. So that was very good. I want to thank my wife for all the extra hours I've put in. And but most of all, I want to thank the seniors. The senior girls have been a very special group, and they've been a major part in making my last 4 winters as enjoyable as they have been. So best wishes in the future, girls. Now I'd like to introduce the players, and if you suited up JV this year, why don't you go ahead and come forward now. We have a few that aren't here, but I am pleased with the turnout that we do have. Elizabeth Snyder, the sophomore, or is a sophomore, she was also a part-time varsity manager toward the end of the season. We appreciate that. Ashley Johnson, freshman. Heather Galloway, freshman. Emily Robinson, freshman. Jenny Bacon, freshman. Sarah Olgamont, junior. Katie Stevens, freshman. Lita Smith, sophomore. And Katie Reeder, a junior, who also helped out with the varsity manager. A little bit about the season. We started out losing our first game, winning the next game, losing the third game. Then after that, we went on to win 13 straight, to finish the 14-2 that we did. As far as I know, well, I know in the last 11 years, this is the best record ever held by a JV girls team. Some of our highlights include winning the Carrollton University tournament, coming from a little bit from behind up at the Savannah when we got into some foul trouble and we had a lot of health problems, and we were able to win that by 2. Some of my personal highlights included hitting 2 deer with a bus as driver Bob was driving. We went back and thought about strapping one to the hood that we did hit and run over, but we just drug it off. But these are fine players. They've always done a lot that I've asked, and always have done it. They've never been sneaky with me. I think they do keep their academics in front. I hope they haven't been sneaky with me. I'm not so sure now. But at the most part, they've really been a good bunch to work with. As a challenge to the players, I do want to say, obviously there's a lot of positions opening up from the seniors graduating. This is something that you haven't thought about, you should be thinking about, and working on your skills in the off season. So I do challenge you to rise to the occasion and keep working as hard as you can during the summer. Once again, this has been a wonderful group to work with, and I thank the parents. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach Regan. Congratulations, girls, on an outstanding season, and congratulations, Coach Baker, on an outstanding freshman season. Again, just like the boys, a lot coming in the feeder program. We go to the girls varsity now, and past 4 years have been the 4 greatest years in the history of girls basketball. That counts back in the 20s and 30s until they eliminated it in the early 40s, and back when they resumed it in 1974. I had the best seat in the house to watch one of the most outstanding basketball teams, not only this year, but the past 4 years that Chillicothe High School has ever put on the floor. They won 97 games. They lost 17. Their honors and list of tributes could go on, and I'm sure that Coach Fairchild is going to tell you something about all of those, not only this year, but some of those that made it apart the past 4 years. Coach Rich Fairchild, varsity coach.
Thanks, Chuck. Justin, that's a lot of rebounds. And you know, the guy that held the rebound record, his name was Bob Norman. He played with Jerry Parrish. And if you played with Jerry Parrish, you'd probably hit that many rebounds. You know, there's a lot of people that, you know, I need to thank. And Coach Rickon, he's thanked the parents and et cetera, et cetera. And Coach Snockenberg, he's thanked everybody that I need to thank. And I'd like to talk eventually a little bit about our girls basketball team. If I was going to talk about all the good things about them, it'd be a long evening. If I was going to talk about their shortcomings, we'd dismiss right now, okay? Because they are a great bunch of girls. But there are some people that I do need to recognize. Coach Baker, stand up, please. Coach, we really appreciate you coming back into the coaching ranks, and thanks for a great job. And of course, Coach Riekena, I thank you so much. great following here in Chillicothe, and Randy, who fills in for Mike on several occasions. Thanks for a job well done, guys. We really appreciate it, and appreciate your friendship a great deal. To Bob, Carter, Chuck, the staff at the Constitution, for the coverage that you give us, it's really great. I also want to thank you guys in the Constitution. It's always good to have your name in print. Thanks, Moms, for the goodies. Make the bus rides, I can't say more enjoyable, because a bus ride has never been enjoyable. But at least tolerable. But thanks anyway. To Pizza Hut, thanks for the pizza party, and to Hy-Vee for the donations that they gave us when the girls held the concession stand, and Joni and her crew, and I can't remember who they all were. When you get to be my age, you have a tendency to forget. So anyway, thanks for that. Once in a while, you run across people that become great sports fans. They don't have a kid in school right now. They don't have any association sometimes with the people that are playing, but they're always people that root hard and are very supportive. Several people come to mind. Mr. and Mrs. Reeder. Boys. Always appreciate that, and I think all the other coaches do too. Jim Hendricks, he was unable to be here tonight because of another commitment, but he would have liked to have been here this evening. Jim has been a great follower of our girls' boys basketball teams the past 2 or 3 years, and has nothing but kind words to say, regardless of the outcome of a ball game. As far as he is concerned, you girls are number one. Again, Mom, Dad, thanks for sharing your daughters with us. We have them a great deal of time. Probably any of the bad things, the influences that are with them, probably a result of me. Well, Coach Rick is a pretty good guy. The past year, this was a good year for girls basketball. It wasn't a great year because we had greater expectations. I don't think the best team won. I know the best team won. I guess that's part of why they play the game, have a winner and a loser. And I know what your expectations were, and I wish we could have fulfilled them, not only for the seniors, but the underclassmen. Let them have a sense of what it's like, to go to the big dance. Don't deal with a bunch of kids for 4 years and not hurt inside for them. And have a special feeling. I think a great deal of them, and consequently, it's makes this part of the job crappy. I hate banquets. And I hate them. Anyway, I think as seniors, you can look back to a lot of fond memories. Think about us hitting the curves in St. Russ. I didn't hit the curve, but I wanted to let you think that I did. Okay. Winning 3 districts, it's not bad, 4 years. But anyway, I want to, thank each of you for, it was a great ride, and a lot of fun times. And as always, seniors, I expect you to come back and be a part of Lady Warner basketball. You're always welcome. I'm going to get on with some of the people. The coach has already mentioned some of the people that dressed for us this year, that basically are non-letter winners. And you can just stand if you would when I call your name out there. Heather Galloway. Heather, I felt was just an immensely improved player. Did a great job. Came up to the varsity at the end of the season and suited out with us. And our concern is, are we going to have Heather next year? And we sure hope we do. Emily Robinson. Emily, I think is going to be an outstanding point guard for us here at Chillicothe. She handles the ball well with either hand. And I've had a lot of people ask me whether she was left-handed or right-handed, and a lot of people thought she was left-handed, a natural left-hander. But she's a smart player, she's intelligent, and she works hard, and hopefully she will develop a little range in her shooting, so she can become a better perimeter scoring threat. All right, thank you. Now, there's a couple of, I need to say this because there's a couple of student managers that aren't here that kind of kept their books and stats for us. And that was Katie Rooney and Mindy Zion. I'll go down the list, and if you would come up and receive your certificate when I call your name. These are letter winners. All right, first, Sonia Doherty, and Sonia's not here. Unfortunately, there was a death in the family, and she was unable to attend this evening. We think Sonia's a hard worker, plays defense. Rochelle, I know, can show you a lot of bruises that she got in practice from going up against Sonia. And I think Sonia really helped a great deal in making Rochelle even into a better basketball player. Of course, I hope that Sonia will work hard in the off season, spend a few minutes each day on developing her basketball skills. Sarah Vogelman. This is Sarah was a provisional winner last year, so she is a letter winner, so this will make her second letter. Sarah's a good worker. I think late in the season, Sarah found out, and if I call you Sonia, it won't bother you because I did that all year. And I call Sonia Sarah and Sarah Sonia. But Sarah, I think, found out something about her shooting touch and her shooting form late in the season. And Sarah's just an outstanding young lady and an extremely good competitor. I think if she'll get over that nervous stage that she gets into occasionally, she's going to vie for a starting position next year. Katie Stevens. Katie's a freshman, letter winner. Of course, this will be her first letter in basketball. She's lettered in other sports, so she doesn't get a letter. We can kind of chintzy on that, I think. But anyway, Katie is a great competitor. I think Katie is harder on herself than anybody else is, but she wants to do the very best that she can possibly do. And normally, I think she does extremely well, and I'm extremely proud of her being able to step up as a freshman and step out on the floor with older people, seniors and things like this. Even as important as that is, I was especially proud of our seniors, accepting the young people we had on our basketball team this year and making them feel a part of the basketball team. That hasn't necessarily always been the case. Sometimes that is a problem, as some of our seniors can attest to when they were freshmen. It wasn't an easy transition for them. I hope that they made Katie's transition onto the varsity basketball team a lot easier because of their experiences, that they had. There's no doubt in my mind that Katie's going to be an outstanding basketball player here at CHS. She has a good shooting touch, and she finally got one of the threes down, and I think she's going to get many more. Katie, just keep working. I don't even have to tell you that, because I know you're going to do that. And look forward to you next year, okay? Melissa Parkey was a provisional winner last year, and this would be her second letter, because she is a veteran this year. Melissa was unable to attend tonight because a friend of hers was in a car accident, and she felt compelled to be at the hospital. I appreciate that and her concern for her friend. At any rate, Melissa started some games for us this year, and I thought stepped in and did an outstanding job. Melissa has great instincts on the basketball floor. I think she was very instrumental, had a great game against St. Joe Benton when we defeated Benton with about 13 points and 9 rebounds. I'm pretty sure that Melissa's going to continue to work and improve herself as a basketball player. And if Mr. Parkey, better known as Mike, would come up, we'll just let you take this and give her our best wishes. Okay, now let's see, we're down to Ashley Parrish. Ashley, this is Ashley's third letter. Ashley had a great season, just recently named to the KMZU Dream Team and second team All-Conference. Ashley's a great shooter, great outside shooter. I'm not saying you can't hit it inside. You can. And because you're a great shooter, nobody on our team actually is going to end up with as many rebounds as Bob Norman had. The thing, Ashley has come from a basketball family, having coached both of her brothers, who were outstanding players and outstanding young men back in the 80s when I had them. I thought some of you probably thought, no, I didn't coach Parrish. Jerry. In fact, nobody probably coached Parrish. Anyway, Ashley, the thing that I think that we're looking for is we're looking next year for leadership from Ashley Parrish. We're looking for someone that's going to be able to score, rebound, play defense, and take charge on the basketball floor and help our younger people be successful. And I hope that you are ready to assume that leadership role that you will have next year. And it's really been a pleasure. Ashley, you did a great job. I mentioned, all conference. Valerie told us this year as to what she was a year ago. And she dislocated her finger. She probably had the most known dislocated finger in North Missouri. And then she came back and played. Then she got ill, and then she played. Then she got ill again, and then she played. But she was never at full strength. And too, Valerie, I would say this, that I hope that she has success in the future, and that she can find peace and happiness in whatever she decides to do. Let's go on with the rest of our seniors. Amy Bob Smith. Amy, come on up here. This is Amy. Amy was a provisional letter, so this makes her a 2-year letter winner. Amy's a spirit. I tell you what, she was one that on the bench or on the floor or at practice, she always gave everything she had, and she was exceptional. She could look away and shoot free throws. We're shooting free throws, and if we miss them, we have to run, and Amy's up there, and being the good Catholic that she is, she's doing all this, doing her Hail Marys, and made the first one and missed the second one. So, but Amy, it really has been a pleasure, and I don't know, sometimes people don't know how much they add to something. I want you to know that you've added a great deal, and really appreciate it. Sarah. This is Sarah's second letter. Sarah started several games for us this year at center. And I thought did an outstanding job. She's an unselfish player that worked hard all the time. Whether it was game or practice, you could always depend on Sarah. She was dependable and reliable, making practices and doing whatever she could to make the team success. And her and Amy were kind of cheerleaders too, on bench time. They gave that, the stomp that they wanted to try to teach me to do, uncoordinated, and the things on the sideline. But they were always supportive of the people that played on the floor. And I tell you what, I think that means so much when you're that type of individual. And I think down the line, things like that pay off. And I hope, Sarah, in your chosen profession, and I hope you become a doctor. I may need help one of these days. And that if I do, that you will just remember some of the good things I did. Okay? I'm going to do this a little bit different. I want you three hooligans on the end here to come up at one time, because all of you came up together when you were freshmen. So I want all of you to come up together now. This is Cheryl's fourth letter. Cheryl has been a steady performer over the past 4 years. Oftentimes, not necessarily out in the limelight, but always somewhere where she was doing some dirty work, playing defense and things like this that you really don't get cited for sometimes, or it doesn't get noticed. I felt like Cheryl was a good shooter from the left baseline. We talked about taking the shot from her spot on the floor. I'm trying to figure out who's going to replace some of that giggle, but I'm sure we'll find somebody that will. I always knew it wasn't a bus that was causing the problem. It wasn't me, Coach. Yeah, right. But Cheryl had, throughout the 4 years, has come up with a lot of big plays for us. And I can say this, that on our all-time career record list, Cheryl ranks, I think it's number 4 in assists on career records. So that speaks a lot for what her contributions are. Cheryl, going to miss you a great deal. You've added so much to our basketball team the past 4 years. floor that you'll ever see. I thought she was extremely unselfish. Played hard. Reliable. Everything you want. This past year, she shot a remarkable 64% from two-point range. That's pretty good, folks. That's a season record. And you know what? She broke her own record from a year ago, which was 56%. Maybe sometimes didn't shoot enough. But Beth was, she ranks up in just about every category that we've had as far as career records is concerned. She is, I think, like number 3 in scoring. I think she just surpassed her sister in that category. Her sister still was ahead of her on rebounds, Beth. I'm going to go out, I'm going to get you, I'm going to let Parrish take you out tonight and let him shoot some, maybe you can catch up. Won't take too long. Let me see here, Beth. Beth is 5th in rebounding, 2nd in assists and steals, 2nd in field goals making, 5th in 3 points scored. Beth, I'm not sure, you shot around 57% last year, and this year you shot 64%. I haven't had an opportunity to figure out what it was for 4 years, but it was outstanding. One of the things is your free throw shooting improved immensely, too. I know Beth, she's got all this and all that, and I think you are all this and all that, too. But anyway, I want to wish you the best of luck, Beth, and I hope that you have an opportunity to continue to play, and just going to miss you. The other half of the celebrated guard tandem, along with Beth, is of course Rochelle, our point guard. And, I think some of the best decisions that I've ever seen made in basketball have been made on fast break opportunities that these two have manufactured. I'm not talking about a girls basketball level. I'm talking about basketball in general. Some of the greatest fast breaks and transition baskets that I've ever seen made have been made, by these two. Rochelle gave 100% effort, just like Beth. That they had no regard for their body. That's why they have to wear slacks. You tape them at practice and it looked like they'd just been in a car accident. But they did. They had no regard for their body. Wherever the ball was at, they were going to go get it, whether it was in the stands. I had a college coach from Southern Illinois that couldn't believe how those two went into the stands to get the basketball. She was completely amazed. Again, I can't think of a better tandem in the state than these two. Rochelle, kind of the court leader, as a point guard, you have to have leadership, and I think she brought that to us. And I know that when these two went into our lineup as freshmen, we were 3 and 4. That's when they became starters. Our team was 3 and 4. They went from 3 and 4 to 19 and 8. They have played in 100, and they have started in 107 consecutive games. And I think that's really great. But, it's when they throw their body around, going to games and not feeling well. You don't play in 107 games and always feel real good. And I think that's amazing in itself to be able to do that. Anyway, Rochelle, she ranks 5th
assists and steals and 3-point field goals made. She's fourth in scoring behind Valerie, Jane Dickinson, and Beth. She ranks fifth in field goals made and fourth in free throws made for her career. And, you know, I just can't think of a better point guard in the state and a better competitor than Rochelle Barrett has been. She's going to receive some postseason honors too. I've really enjoyed the past 4 years, and I'll miss you all. I've had this cold for 3 days. It is an end to an era, but it's also a time for the rest of you to begin thinking that it should be the beginning of a new era. What you do with that depends a great deal upon you. Work hard, improve on your weaknesses as well as your strength. Know what it takes to maintain a tradition. They helped start a tradition. They're going to put it in your hands to keep it going. Thanks, ladies. To Beth Hinklebein. Beth. Beth shot 70% on the free throw line this year. Thought that was really great. Good job, Beth. All right, Beth, come on back, because this is the rebound award, and Beth, you led us in rebounds with 210. I thought you did a good job. Got a hustle award. You know, it could go to a lot of people. Free throws, rebounding, that's all cut and dry. I wish I had a hustle award for everybody. I don't. But this goes to, again, we'll go to Rochelle Barrett. Thought you said you wanted to hold my hand. And here's another award that could go to all kinds of people. It's a coach's award, and this is, of course, presented by KCHI. Two of the others are by, one's by Chuck and Rita. That's the Puzzle Award, and the Constitution gives the Free Throw Award, and Law Hall Jewelry gives the Rebounding Award. I believe that's right. And this is given to by KCHI, and this coach's award. And everybody, this year, can go to everybody. I think you were all very, very hard workers, and I just appreciated being around all of you. Sometimes some people get overlooked, and some people make great contributions, and it doesn't always come in a game. It comes in practice. It comes from being prompted. It comes from support, and just a lot of different things that you always can't measure. Free throws you can measure. But at any rate, this is kind of a special award, I think, because it goes to someone that makes a lot of sacrifices and does things. And Sarah Clark.
Coach, I told those girls, I told Rochelle, I said she was practicing her speech pretty soon, and she said, I'm not sure I can get through it. And I said, it's no problem, Rochelle, but I'm not sure I can get you up here to get through it. Congratulations. It was a great honor to watch all of you play. I go back and think of Parky coming in the Benton game and doing a great job. I think of Sarah Clark doing a great job off the bench and as a starter. And all of you are to be congratulated, as well as the boys, for just an outstanding season, a lot of thrills for the Chillicothe boys and girls basketball fans. We congratulate you and the coaches. I want to say one more thing before David comes up here. Jerry, I know that Rich was getting on you a little bit, but I'm probably the only one in this room other than Rich that can go back a long ways in all athletics at Chillicothe High School and about shooters. Now, it got so bad when Rich played, and I know because I played with him, we had no one that wanted to toss the ball in out of bounds because we knew once it got into Rich, we'd never see it again. He'd shoot it. Okay? That's a true story. You can ask Coach Ed Nelson down at Jewel about that.